In front of everyone, amidst the glare of cameras and thousands of eyes, Zhang Linghe suddenly uttered a word that stunned everyone. It wasn't a drama line, not a clear script, but a call that sounded so personal. "Honey." And as if that wasn't enough, he repeated it once more. Beside him, Tian Xiwei stood with an expression that was hard to describe. In a split second, his face changed, a mix of shock, embarrassment, and was that a suppressed smile? The reaction was so swift, but enough to set the internet ablaze. The audience at the scene reacted immediately. Laughter mixed with screams of admiration, while cameras continuously recorded every detail of the incident. No one expected that simple moment would become the biggest topic of the day. It didn't take long for the clip to spread like wildfire. From post to post, from platform to platform, everyone was talking about the same thing. Weibo was filled with comments, TikTok was filled with replays, and everyone had one big question. What exactly just happened? Some fans tried to be rational. They said this was just fan service, something done to please the audience. After all, in the entertainment industry, sweet interactions like this are nothing new. But others felt something was different. The way the words were spoken too softly, too natural, as if it wasn't planned, but rather an unconscious reflex. And this is where things got even more interesting. When the clip was replayed in slow motion, small details began to emerge. Zhang Linghe's tone of voice, the pause before he spoke, and the way his eyes briefly darted directly to Tian Xiwei, all felt intimate. More than that, after realizing what he'd said, Zhang Linghe's expression also changed. There was a hint of panic, followed by an awkward smile that attempted to cover the situation. That brief moment only reinforced the speculation that had already begun to emerge. Meanwhile, Tian Xiwei didn't immediately respond. He seemed to be holding back something, whether it was laughter, embarrassment, or perhaps a feeling he didn't want to show in public. That reaction became one of the most talked about parts among fans. In the comments section, theories arose. Some believed the two were indeed more than just colleagues. Others thought it was simply incredible chemistry that was carried off-screen. But one thing was undeniable. The moment felt too real to be entirely acting. Some fans even began connecting this incident to their previous interactions. Old interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and even snippets of video footage were being brought up. And more were seeing the same pattern, a seemingly genuine closeness. Was this just a coincidence? Or were the pieces of a puzzle that had been hidden all along starting to fall into place? What made it all the more jarring was the timing. There was no clear context, no compelling reason to use the word. It just happened when it was least expected. And precisely because of that, many believed it wasn't planned. The fandom's reaction was divided. Some felt it was a sweet moment to celebrate, while others tried to hold back their hopes. After all, in the entertainment world, expectations often lead to disappointment. But it was hard not to get carried away. Because when two people with strong chemistry demonstrate something that seems so real, the line between acting and reality blurs. And that's where fans' imaginations begin to take over. Did Zhang Linghe really reveal something by accident? Or was this just a play on emotions created by their habit of acting together? The answer may never be completely clear. But one thing is certain. That moment left a deep mark. A simple word that changed the way people saw them, and perhaps the way they saw each other. And now, every little interaction between Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei would be scrutinized more closely than ever. Every look, every smile, every word, everything would be analyzed. Because once that "I love you" was said, nothing would ever feel the same again. From then on, every public appearance by Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei felt different. Not because they had changed, but because the way people perceived them had shifted. Even the smallest interactions now felt like they had hidden meaning. At a subsequent event, when they stood side by side again, the audience's attention was no longer on the event itself. All eyes were on how they spoke to each other, how close they stood, and whether any other tells would emerge subconsciously. Interestingly, both of them seemed more cautious. Zhang Linghe spoke with more restrained voices, while Tian Xiwei was seen averting her gaze several times when the camera lingered too long. Was this a sign that they were aware of the growing speculation? Or was it the opposite? Were they trying to hide something? Some fans noticed that while their words were more reserved, their body language was even more telling. The way Zhang Linghe leaned slightly toward Tian Xiwei while listening, or how Tian Xiwei seemed more relaxed around him. Small details that are hard to fake. And in the entertainment world, it's precisely these details that are the most truthful. The discussion grew heated. Some began comparing their interactions to other actor couples who eventually developed real-life relationships. The same patterns, similar viral moments, and even awkward reactions that turned out to have a bigger story behind them. But there were also more skeptical voices. They reminded them that strong chemistry can be built from professionalism and intense collaboration. That not all closeness necessarily means love. Even so, it was hard to ignore how that moment of love lingered. Because in a world full of scripts and planning, something that seemed spontaneous had a much stronger appeal. Over time, the clip not only went viral, but also became a symbol of possibility, of hope, and of unanswered curiosity. Every time the video resurfaced on people's timelines, the reaction remained the same: shock, smiles, and wonder. And perhaps that's what made this moment so special. Not just because of what was said, but because of how it made everyone feel. As if they were witnessing something that shouldn't be seen, something too honest for a world filled with imagery. Ultimately, the truth may only be known by Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei themselves. What those words meant, why they were said, and what they truly felt, all remain a mystery. But for fans, that mystery is what keeps the story alive. Because as long as there are no definitive answers, the possibility remains open. And as long as that possibility remains, that moment of love will be remembered as one of the most shocking events ever to occur in the entertainment industry. Time passed, but the echoes of that moment never subsided. Even as other topics began to emerge, conversations about Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei kept finding their way back to the surface, as if something was left unfinished. On various fan forums, discussions deepened. Not just about a single word, but about the dynamics of their relationship as a whole. The way they looked at each other, how the pauses in their conversation felt different, and how the energy between them seemed synchronized. Some even began analyzing old interviews with a new perspective. Sentences that once seemed ordinary now held hidden meanings. Jokes that were once considered lighthearted now sounded like clues that had been overlooked. And the deeper one dug, the harder it became to ignore the possibility that there was something bigger behind it all. But on the other hand, there was an intriguing silence. There was no clarification, no official explanation, no attempt to deny or confirm. Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei chose to remain silent, and that silence was precisely what made it all the more intriguing. Because in many cases, silence can mean many things. Was it a form of professionalism? An attempt to maintain privacy? Or was it a subtle way to let the public interpret things for themselves without having to deny something that might be true? Every time they appeared together again, the atmosphere always felt a little different. There was a subtle, unexplainable tension, but also a warmth that couldn't be hidden. A combination that made anyone watching feel like they were seeing something more than just colleagues. And perhaps, therein lay the greatest appeal of all this. Not in the certainty, but in the ambiguity. In the empty space that allowed each person to fill in their own interpretation. In the thin line between reality and possibility that was never truly answered. Because in the end, it wasn't just about whether they were truly connected or not. It was about how one small moment could create a huge story, a story that lived in the minds of millions, evolving, changing, and constantly being talked about. And as long as Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei remained in the same spotlight, as long as they still shared the same space in front of the camera, the story wouldn't be over. In fact, perhaps this was just the beginning.